I heard your friend and collaborator James Lindsay refer to it as idea laundering. I think that's a
Yeah,
great. That's such a great term.
yeah, that's Brett's term. Here's what idea laundering
Oh,
is.
sorry.
Let's say, and if people want to read more about this, I published a piece in the Wall Street Journal about it. So idea laundering is this idea that he gave us that in his house one night over many drinks. Idea laundering is the idea that, let's say that you have some moral impulse and I have a moral impulse, and maybe we don't really have a way to discharge our moral impulse, but we're both academicians. So we get together and we find another person. We don't even need another person. Let's just include another person. We find another person who also has a moral impulse. And we say, like, let's make a journal about this. So we make a peer-reviewed academic journal where we write stuff. We follow all the rules. You know, it has an editor. It has a submission process. It rejects or accepts. Desk rejects. They have a revise and resubmit process. It follows it externally. It looks identical. So it comes in as a moral impulse. They launder it in a journal, and it comes out as knowledge. And then when they go to formulate or influence public policy, what they do is they point to the journal. And when you say
the studies, quote unquote.
Yeah. So for example, Christians have a very different mechanism. At the end of the day, almost always it will be based on faith or some weird kind of presuppositionalism. These people don't need any of that because they've manufactured entire domains of inquiry that are completely untethered to reality.
Right. To what degree do you think they do this on purpose? Is it a concerted effort, or are they cognitively blinded by their ideology?
Their moral minds have overridden their rational minds. So they have this idea, for example, of bias being the worst thing imaginable. They have these ideas of, look, so even taking a step back from all this, the other thing is there's some truth in all of this stuff. There's like a kernel of truth in literally all of it, almost all of it. So there has been historical oppression. There has and continues to be oppression of trans people, and certainly not so much gays anymore as there were 15, 20 years ago, but oppression against gays. And, there's a whole Larry Elder thing. Is the prejudice against blacks systemic or not? We'll leave that aside. Certainly it's the case that there are some deranged individuals who harbor racist attitudes towards people. And it doesn't even have to be that. I was reading a piece that Andrew Yang, I support Andrew Yang for president, just published about being Asian. So certainly that is the case. So the problem is that when an ideology has a kernel of truth to it, right, as opposed to Christians who are talking about angels and talking snakes and all that stuff, when an ideology has a kernel of truth to it, it builds upon that kernel of truth to make itself look more reasonable. And what has happened is these people have institutionalized policies based upon a worldview, an ideology that is clear, not just, look, I can't prove that Jesus didn't walk on water. I can't even prove that there was a historical Jesus. But I can certainly prove that the literature coming out of these departments is fucking bullshit.
I'm going to quote you for that, probably.
Yeah, you quote me on that.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see the whole interview, just follow the link up here or down below. And please subscribe for more outrageous clips from my interviews. Thank you. Have a good one. Cheers.